blocks are fun to put together when you've got one where it looks like there's some kind of lattice work going on. And this block is an example of that. Hi, this is Penny Hallgren from quiltblocklibrary.com and quiltblocklibrary.tv. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to sew this Empire Cross quilt block together. It's really easy and it can be really effective if you put the blocks right next to each other. It'll look like there's some kind of lattice work. I'm all ready to go to the sewing machine because my pieces are all cut out. So join me over there and we'll sew this together. You may recognize some of this fabric because I used it to make the dogwood quilt block. So I thought it would be kind of interesting to use the same fabric with a little different design. What I realized though after I've got this cut is that these two fabrics are pretty close to the same value. So it's going to be interesting to see how this comes out. As I explained when I did the dogwood quilt block, what I try to do is figure out how I can make little squares inside the block. And so the first thing I can do is put these together, and these are half square triangles. I'll sew them into little squares. Now these corner patches are sewn together, so I could just go ahead and sew this together with just like a little 9 patch and then work with the outside pieces. And that seems to be the easiest thing to do. So we'll just go ahead and sew these first 2 columns together, and I'll just chain sew them. Now I left these rows of these columns of patches together, so I'll just go ahead and add this final column, and then I'll be able to sew the rows together. Now I've got these rows sewn together, or the patches sewn together in rows. I'll just turn these down and sew these 2 rows together. Now I'll sew the bottom onto the top 2 rows, and then the center piece will be finished. Now I'm ready to sew these outside pieces together, so I'll just take them one at a time and sew them. It looks a little strange to piece them, fold them over, and so you're going to have these little triangle tips that are hanging out each side, but you just fold them over like that and stitch them. Now that the one side is sewn onto the triangle, you just fold the other side down and stitch it on, and we'll do that all the way around the outside. At this point the block will go together like you're adding borders onto a quilt, and because of the way this is measured, I'll add the side ones, these side strips on first. So I'll just match up the seams and sew them together. Now I've got the 2 sides sewn, and I just need to add the top and the bottom, so I'll just go ahead and match these up. This Empire Cross block is all finished and ready for a quilt now. It was pretty easy to sew together, and you can see how when you put another block right next to it, you're going to have kind of an interesting pattern going on in between the blocks. Thanks for joining me. This is Penny Hallgren from quiltblocklibrary.com and quiltblocklibrary.tv. If you're not already over there, head on over to quiltblocklibrary.com and get your free download of this pattern. Thanks again, and peaceful piecing.